What is the good life? Humans are indecisive beings. Every action you make is met with an opportunity you choose to leave behind. We enter the game of life as pawns onto a battlefield. We are backed by those who have played the game before, so we observe their movement and learn from their techniques. However, those that have played the game before all have a different strategy. In our reality, these strategies can be equated to philosophies on life. For example, skepticism, the knight, doubt everything. There's no distinction between good and bad beliefs, but the concept of beliefs itself is bad. If you are predisposed to believe something will be a specific way, then you've closed yourself off to alternative truths. We need to be extremely cautious of our emotions as they can distort how we see the world. The Aristotelian philosophy, the bishop, would say that everything should be governed with logic. Reason is what separates man from beast, and exercising our reason is the key to peace of mind. The ideal Aristotelian reliable witness is one who practices practical wisdom, meaning they decide on what is right and wrong given a set of circumstances. Stoicism, the rook, would tell you that you can only care about the things you can control. Victory plays no part in Stoic philosophy, as winning and losing is out of your control. Rather, we must do what we can and be satisfied in knowing that we did our best. The Stoic sage is one who is more concerned with if the arrow is drawn correctly, rather than if the arrow hits the target. Epicureanism, the queen, would say that pleasure is the key to life. If it makes you happy, then it's good. It claims that humans at their core are pure and their natural instincts are preferred. The ideal, reliable witness is one who has not been influenced by society, because if the society is corrupt, then the morals and values of each individual are compromised as well. So often we look to others to get a blueprint to life, but role models are a tricky concept. They can have a certain characteristic that you may want to achieve, but you cannot just blindly follow what they say. In Maximo Pigliucci's How to Be a Stoic, we hear of first-hand accounts of how people overcame severe adversity using Stoic philosophy. However, humans cannot be taught how to overcome adversity. Rather, it's an ability that we are born with, and will be unlocked when we have no other choice. Take, for example, a pawn. Normally, it will only move forward one square at a time, but when necessary, it will move diagonally and take another piece. There's no prerequisite for it to occur. The pawn doesn't have to see someone else take a piece first. Likewise, when we are cornered and at rock bottom, we will find the answer within ourselves. Being human requires perspective and critical thinking. Sometimes things don't make sense at face value, and you won't recognize the importance of something until you see the cascade of events that follow it. The true reliable witness is someone who will make an observation and then take a pause before making any conclusions. Along with this comes the responsibility of knowing that you may be wrong. At times that can be a hard pill to swallow, but denying failure will only prolong failure. Take for example this sequence of events. At first it looks so foolish as the queen is sacrificed for what looks like nothing. However, upon further inspection, you realize what may have seemed like a mistake was a calculated move. Similarly in life, we must not be quick to judge. Whether it be the romanticization of death through sacrifice, or the absence of death from an attempt to live forever, we have been obsessed with death since the beginning of time. Death gives life purpose. When someone is asked if they fear death, the common answer is no. But I would argue that they are really answering the question, are you afraid of dying? There needs to be a clear distinction between the fear of death and the fear of dying. I would argue the fear of death is normal and necessary. And if you say that you're not afraid of dying, then answer this. Are you afraid of losing someone you love? Because at its core, that is the same as the fear of death. The concept of death makes time finite, and when supply goes down, demand goes up. And that's why we see people wanting to do as much as possible in their countdown to death. So acknowledge from an early age that you have a limited amount of time, and don't save anything for tomorrow. One thing people struggle with on a regular basis is whether or not they feel that they get respect from others. Ancient Greeks would say that respect from others is an external good and not necessary for peace of mind. However, I cannot agree with this. I would say part of our innate human nature is living with others and sharing ideas to enhance each other's strengths. The chessboard is a perfect example of mutual respect between all players. On paper, the queen is the most powerful piece. Despite this, a coordinated attack represents perfect balance between all members of society, even the simple pawn. However, if there is no coordination, there will be failure. I believe when you are neglected and told you are expendable, you lose the ability to achieve something that you once could have achieved. Because unfortunately, it's hard to believe in yourself when no one else does. So now I've shared a number of my views on life that I think will lead you to a happier life. But there's one secret left to get to, quote unquote, the good life. And that's recognizing that the person sitting across the chessboard is yourself. The battlefield is in your mind and your soul. The pieces aren't the people you surround yourself with, but they're your thoughts and emotions. So don't avoid your emotions. Learn to control them. Learn to understand yourself, and you will have entered the good life.